I am Anthony Newbold. Welcome to A Closer Look. My guest this week is the Minister of Transport and Local Government, the Honourable Renward Wells. Minister, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Ace, and I look forward to our dialogue and discussion so that we can help to enlighten the Bahamian people about what goes on in the Ministry of Transport and Local Government.
Well, I hope that this is the first of many we will have. You just got back in the country. You've been doing some traveling. Where were you?
Well, first I went to London. It was supposed to have been, there were supposed to have been 3 countries that I was supposed to have visited. First was Israel, then I was to go to the UK to London, and then on to Egypt to meet with the African Union. The Egypt part of the trip didn't pan out because we ended up having to make some changes. But I was in Israel, met with some of the Israeli leaders, was in London, met with a number of consulate countries, because what we're seeking to do Ace, in the maritime industry, is we're seeking to continue our candidature, continue our membership on the Group C board of the IMO. The Bahamas is one of those countries that is well respected globally in regards to maritime issues, and we are one of 20 countries out of 175 that are a part of the IMO who are on Group C. That has been extremely important for our ship registry. As you know, we're ranked number 6 in the world in regards to our ship registry. We are recognized as probably one of the most quality registers for ship registry, and so that was a part of what I was in London doing, seeking to ensure that when the vote comes up again in November, the vote takes place every 2 years, that when it comes up again in November, that the Bahamas is once again voted back onto the Group C Council so we could continue our progressive work.
2 things. We are in the council now.
We are on the council now. We've been on the council for 20 years, and it has become extremely competitive globally because the countries who are on the council have an opportunity to grow their ship registry. As you know, the Bahamas, it's a revenue earning area for us in regards to maritime, in regards to the Bahamas Maritime Authority, in regards to the Port Authority of the Bahamas, and we're seeking to stay there, and there are a lot of countries who are interested in getting on the council. But our work is well known.
Yeah.
And so all we have to do is speak to the quality of the work that we have done
And I wanted
in the
to ask-
maritime industry.
I wanted to ask you about that because we're number 6. We used to be number 3. What happened?
Well, you know, what has ended up happening is the Bahamas have very hard and stringent rules as to who we will allow on our ship registry. We have a quality ship registry, and you know, as in all businesses, there are those who are not necessarily willing to comport to all the rules that you would put out. We could be number 1, but then we would be allowing ships on our registry that could pose a problem for other ship owners. Okay, the Bahamas is known as one of those flag states that gets least inspected. As a matter of fact, we were the least inspected flag state globally. The entire globe, the Bahamas is flagged. So when a ship is flying the Bahamas flag, when it's coming into a port anywhere in the world, the ISPS persons, the port security persons look and say, we don't have to worry about that ship. We know the quality of the Bahamian registry. And so that is what we've sought to maintain, and in seeking to maintain that, other ship companies that have come on stream, they have chosen to go elsewhere. All of our ships we have kept, and we're looking to continue to expand, especially into the cruise ship industry. We are number 1 for cruise ships registered under any flag state.
Okay, we're back home now.
Yes.
And I thought I should congratulate you on what certainly was one of the signature moves in your ministries, but you came back to some controversy still.
Yes.
You were able to move the employees of the post office to another location. What's going on there? What's your, meaning the government's position on all the commentary and all the rest of that's been going on?
First off, I want folks to understand that we took a decision because of the health and well-being of the employees of the post office who have been suffering for years inside East Hill Post Office building. This administration was not willing to continue that process. So we made a promise to the employees of the post office, and by extension the Bahamian people, that we were going to address the situation. So we made the move to the town center mall, and all of the employees who were going home half day, the post office now back up and running. the essential service that and I want folks to remember, the post office just isn't a service. It is an essential service. It is key to our economic growth. As a matter of fact, a number of businesses were complaining about the overall operations. We are now in a position of moving forward the post office. The post office is back up and running, fully engaged in all of the processes. And I want folks to also know that this move was completely transparent. Completely. We followed the process laid down by the founding fathers of this nation who wrote the Constitution of the Bahamas. We all know what Article 49, Section F, Section 1 says, okay, about a member of parliament who enters into a contract. We did that. It was there for all to see. All of the documents that people are talking about was laid. The opposition had an opportunity to speak to it. We spoke to it. It was transparent. And we were able to get the post office at half the cost of what the former administration was going to pay for it. We got it at half the cost. So there was a huge savings there for the Bahamian people. There's savings even in the health and well-being in terms of the health and life quality of the Bahamian people, in terms of the employees of the post office, and in terms of the health quality and the quality of life of the overall economy of the Bahamas with the move that we made with the post office. All of that, I would say, is indisputable. Now, folks would have their views, but I would say that we have done good in regards to the move.
Again, so as far as you, the government, is concerned, you've done what you are obligated to do on behalf of the Bahamian people.
Absolutely.
And you don't back away from that.
No, we don't shy away from that. We don't shy away from that. And we've spoken to it. And we continue to speak to it. We told the Bahamian people that we were going to be transparent with them, and we have been transparent. There is nothing new in the discussion about the post office that was not already spoken to. This is just adjudicating something that was already adjudicated in the High Court of Parliament, because that's what Parliament is.
You in the town center mall, how permanent is that location? What's the arrangement?
The government has a 5-year lease agreement for the town center mall, and the government has a 5-year lease. We are paying for 56,000 square feet of space, and as you know, it's $12 a square foot, so whatever that works out to be. The resolution in the House of Assembly gave the government the opportunity to lease up to 75,000 square feet, which was the original drawings that the former administration left behind. We were able to work some of the spaces, and as a result of that, we are now at 56,000 square feet, and that's what the government is going to pay for.
We haven't gotten to too much of your ministry. We got to take a break, and we're going to explore some more of that, but we got to take a break, and we'll be back with more Closer Look with the Minister of Transport and Local Government after this. Welcome back to A Closer Look. I'm Anthony Newbold, speaking with the Minister of Transport and Local Government, the Honourable Renward Wells. Road traffic, another one of the units in your ministry,
yes,
that got as much ink as the post office, nearly as much.
Yes.
What's happening with road traffic?
Well, we're seeking to move road traffic into the 21st century. As you know, that there's a TMS, a transportation management system, now in place. It was put in by the former administration. There were some bugs in the system, so to speak, that we're seeking to work out in terms of programming. We're looking at the whole process of the road traffic department and how folks are served. We're also looking now for, again, it seems like every department in the Ministry of Transport is needing relocation.
Okay.
And so we're looking as to how we can find appropriate accommodations again for the road traffic department so we can move out of the stadium area. There are a number of options that the government is now exploring, but we're looking to make the best decision for the Bahamian people. And we're having some of the same health challenges that we had in regards to the post office with the road traffic department there at the stadium. And so we're seeking to come with a decision very, very quickly to be able to move folks so that, again, road traffic in a sense is also an essential service for the Bahamian people, and we're seeking to put them in the kind of accommodations where the Bahamian people will be best served.
Road traffic, you want to move it to somewhere else. TMS, you talked about, that traffic management system.
Yeah.
That is a physical or tech system that you're talking about?
It is a tech system in which all of the information for drivers it's for your driver's license, so that we don't need to get the information again. We can just print out your driver's license. There was an issue with the driver's license globally, as folks know, so we had to call in the company that the former administration had signed a contract with, the companies out of New Zealand. So they had to bring one of their technical officers to do the programming of the system. We're now looking as to, because a part of the contract was not for them to have a tech officer here in the Bahamas. We're going to be insisting on that. A programmer is here in the Bahamas, so we don't have to wait months for someone to come and program the system for us. On the system is all of the vehicle, all of the license plate for every vehicle, for taxis, for liveries, for buses, so we know who owns what. And we're seeking to expand our operations now in the Family Islands, so that we can print licenses in Long Island, in North Andros, in Bimini, in San Sal, in Abaco. We've purchased the printers. The government purchased the printers in January, but we had to wait for the programmer from Data Talk to come to program the printers for the various islands. And so I'm looking by the end of the year, by December, to have all of the Family Islands up and running to where folks can actually have the digital electronic services that the Road Traffic Department offers here in Nassau. They'll be able to offer all of those services in a place like Long Island and North and South Andros and North and South Abaco, in San Sal, in Bimini. We already have those services offered in Grand Bahama. So we're looking to expand all of road traffic digital services throughout the country.
Hopefully we get to Cat Island at some point.
Actually, I forgot to mention, but Cat Island is a part of that. New Bight, we're starting with New Bight, and then we're going to move to Arthurstown. But yes, Cat Island is a part of the process as well.
You also plan, certainly the taxi drivers hope, to get that license plate situation sorted out, where they have the same license plate color as the self-drive cars.
Yeah, well, you know,
what was the thinking behind that?
The former administration's view on that was there was no need to change it because one was gold and the next one was yellow. That is what was said. But this administration has taken the position that since universally taxi plate licenses are yellow, gold, or whatever you want to call it, that the taxi plates are going to remain the color yellow, and that we're going to look at changing the color of the SD plates. Just to give you an idea, we have over 5,000 SD plates that we're going to need to be able to change. But we chose to do the SDs because, like I said, universally the taxis are yellow, and we want when persons come into the country, tourists, they're used to looking for that yellow plate, so they'd be able to know the difference between a taxi and SD.
You're talking to the taxi drivers? You're talking to them because while you were gone, they were talking about you.
Well, you know, I tell you, I'm always talking to all aspects of the transportation industry, whether it's the bus drivers, I've met with them, I've met with the taxi cab union, and to give you an idea, Brother Ace, listen, I am the first minister to have held a town hall meeting for all taxi drivers in the country. We had almost 350 persons who showed up, and I was there for about 3 or 4 hours. We addressed every issue that they had. We heard their concerns, and we told them that we would be getting back to them as an administration. The Prime Minister, in his wisdom, has established a subcommittee of cabinet ministers, of which I am chair, but there's the former minister, who was the former Minister of Transport, Frankie Campbell, former Road Traffic Controller, Bransell Roll, Dion Folks, Minister of Labor, the Minister of Tourism, Dionisio de Aguilar, and the AG, Mr. Carl Bethel. We are part of a subcommittee who's looking holistically at the entire transportation industry in the Bahamas and seeking to come back to Cabinet with recommendations as to how we move forward, because we're really concerned about the subleasing business of persons having a taxi plate, subleasing it to someone, and that individual having worked some 20 years not really owning that plate.
When you come back to the show, we're going to talk about some other things with respect to that. Jet skis, they're also part of your portfolio. Yes, they also get the news. All of your departments make the news all the time.
All the time. it is one of those ministries that requires constant and vigilant oversight and seeking to put right processes in place. The thing that I've found with the Ministry of Transport is that there may have been right processes that should have taken place, and even in some areas the process should have been tweaked, but it was not followed. And so now we're having to come back and try to correct those things. With the jet ski operators, we have the same problem. Subleasing of jet ski plates and the other issues of just the overall operations on the beach. It
You just
became a
passed some
huge issue.
amendments, didn't you?
We passed some amendments to be able to get a better handle on the jet ski industry, on the motorboat industry, so that we can bring more weight to bear in regards to how the industry moves forward, so that we can correct some of the deficiencies that we have found and to allay the fears of some of our tourists and even Bahamians who use the service.
Staying in the water. You had mail boats that was the connection between New Providence and the Family Islands
Yes.
for many, many years. You have some challenges there, don't you?
The mailboat account, there are some challenges because what has happened is in 2009, the government had signed contracts with all of the mailboat operators, I think for about 3 years. That's the last time government signed contracts with mailboat operators. And we have some mailboat operators who have a contract, but they don't have no mailboat. So what they've done is they've subbed out their contract to the other persons who've kept their mailboats up and running. And we have a number of routes that are under that kind of supervision. And what it does is it delays the delivery of the mail bag, because that was one of the primary focus of the mail boat, was to deliver the mail to the island, and as a result of that, to deliver cargo for the persons in the island. It too is an essential service. The islands would be in a very dire strait if we did not have the mail boats going and delivering the goods and services to people in the island. And so we're seeking to right that ship. The law makes it very clear. If you ain't got no mail boat, you shouldn't be getting a subsidy. And the government actually pays out some $8.7 million in subsidy to about 20 mailboat operators.
Okay, we got to take another break and we'll be back to discuss some more of your portfolio. But we've got to take a break and we'll be back with the Minister of Transport and Local Government after this. Welcome back. Anthony Newbo speaking with the Minister of Local Government and Transport. I started with local government because I want to talk about that. Sure. Before we get to local government though, let me finish with the mailboats for a moment. The mailboats are accommodated and facilitated at Potter's Key.
Yes.
Are you doing something else with Potter's Key to ensure that whatever's happening out there does so happen smoothly?
Yeah. What we've not done out at Potter's Key is kept pace with the growth of the economy of the Bahamas, because we have a lot more islands that was needing mailboat services, and there's supposed to be a space around Potter's Key designated for each particular mailboat. Okay? The problem that we're having is we've had a huge growth in the fishing industry, and so the fishing boat comes in at certain times of during the year, and that has been causing congestion down at Potter's Key. We also have some folks who are there at Potter's Key who tie up their boats and they're not supposed to be there. And so we're looking as to how we organize Potter's Key and perhaps look at putting more slits out there, marina slits, to accommodate more boats because the maritime industry in regards to mailboats, in regards to commercial fishing, in regards to tours and other things have really expanded over the past 30, 40 years. But Potter's Key's operation has not expanded to accommodate the expansion that has taken place in the industry.
Are the mailboats also bigger than they were back then?
The mailboats are larger than they were back then as well. And we have been seeking to get the roll-on, roll-off mailboats with the lid that drops, because it's better for Family Island operations for loading and unloading. It's also, those ships are a lot more stable in regards to hurricane and other issues. And so
might help you with docks or the
docks
absence
as
of
well,
them.
or the absence of docks, precisely. And that is why we've asked mailboat operators in the past to go to the roll-on, roll-off mail boats, and a lot of them have been complying. And so, as you rightfully put it, the boats themselves have gotten larger, and we have more boats
Yeah.
that are now calling on Portuguese.
Come back, we were talking about road traffic, so we come back to the streets of New Providence. There's some yellow squares that were painted.
Or the
People
yellow
went
box.
to bed and
Yeah, we're gonna look at over the next 2 months. The government of the Bahamas is going to be engaged in a PR campaign where we speak to the yellow boxes, and also too on October 7th. That is the appointed day notice for the law that was passed in the House of Assembly. The Bahamian people are well aware of it, of not using your electronic devices or having open alcohol containers in your car, and also being able to turn left on a red light. Those are going to come into force on October 7th. That will be the law of the land. And what we intend to do is to have a PR campaign for the yellow boxes and for what is required of the Bahamian people in regards to the law. So over the next 2 months, we'll be engaging in that PR campaign.
okay, something that some people think could be a game changer for the government, certainly for the country. Local government, which was something that the government promised while in opposition. Local government for New Providence. I know there was a committee established.
Yes.
What's happening with the committee and the efforts themselves?
The committee has reported, and I have the report. The report is now before the Cabinet of the Bahamas that's going to look at the recommendations. We do have an issue, though, Mr. Newbold, in regards to local government in New Providence, because what has been proposed, there's a local government act that says what local government is supposed to look like.
Right.
And if we go with what is proposed for New Providence, it's going to be different than what the Act calls for, that is representative throughout the Family Islands. And so we're looking as to how we can marry the two, and really what is going to be the best fit for persons both here in New Providence in regards to local government, as well as the established local government administration and process that is taking place currently in the Family Islands.
And you could tell me some of this. You may not want to tell me all of it. I understand that. Local government in New Providence means less need for MPs. How's that going down with your
Well, local
colleagues?
it's interesting. It's interesting, local government in New Providence. There is that view that local government will require less MPs, but we haven't necessarily found that to be the case within the Family Islands. But it may be in New Providence. But there is an issue up front with what was recommended by the Local Government Commission for New Providence, because if you want to split up New Providence into about 5 or 7 districts,
Yeah.
okay, and you're ending up with mayors in those 5 or 7 districts, those mayors are going to end up having more votes than the member of parliament for the particular area. So the member of parliament may have 3,000, 4,000 votes, and the mayor of a district have 14,000, 15,000 votes.
Yeah, it is something you need to work out. But and you're looking, because the intent was to have that ready to go in time for local government elections in the Family Islands.
Yes, and we're still looking at it. But as I said, what was recommended for New Providence doesn't comport with completely the Local Government Act. It's actually a completely new creature, so to speak. And it'll be one based on some of the local government operations in Australia, in New South Wales, and in the UK, and in some other international jurisdictions where folks was looking to particular kind of models to help address the issues of New Providence.
Is the Met Office part of your?
The Met Office is a part of my portfolio that the Prime Minister has entrusted to me.
They ready for the hurricane season?
The Met Office is fully ready for the hurricane season. We're moving forward with the implementation of the AWAS system throughout the country for weather, determining what is going on with the weather. And the Doppler radar is being deployed throughout the country still. We only have, I think, one place in the southern Bahamas before the entire country is completely blanketed with Doppler radar. So there'll never be an opportunity for a walk-in to happen again, where the storm sort of snuck up on us in a sense. And so the Met Office is fully engaged, fully prepared, and ready for the hurricane season. As you can see, there are with just a little tropical depressions that have been happening. The Met has been putting out its report, and it was being circulated in WhatsApp and on Facebook.
And I guess this is not so much you as you coordinating with Ministry of Works, all this water all over the street. I don't know how much we can do about it because we're such a low-lying island.
Yeah, we are a low-lying island, but I believe one of the issues is, I think the building code speaks to the fact that the road should be higher than the surrounding yards. In places like the United States, and especially in cold areas where there's lots of snow, you notice that the yards are higher than the road, so all of the water runs off of the yard onto the road and into gutters. And so what we need to look at is the kind of, we have disposal wells throughout in Providence. The problem is that when you have all of the silt and stuff that moves into the well, it clogs the well. So well cleaning is a part of the Ministry of Works process, and I know that they have been trying to make sure that they get to it, especially before and during the hurricane season.
Got a minute left. How does the port and this new development affect what you do in the Ministry of Transport and Local Government?
Well, the Port Authority is another one of those areas that we're seeking to move into the 21st century in a very progressive way. It's all a part of the country's Blue Economy initiative. We spoke about the Blue Economy during the campaign. We're implementing a lot of policies and processes to maximize revenue in the Blue Economy, whether it's on the fishing side or simply on the maritime traffic side. And the Bahamian people are going to be hearing a lot more from us in regards to port. The Bahamas Maritime Authority is also a part of that. That's our international arm that we're seeking, again, as I spoke to at the beginning of the show, as to what we're doing in November, hoping to stay on the board. So we have a complete layout for the growth of the Blue Economy in the Bahamas.
And we will explore some more of that and some of your other interesting units under your ministry when you come back. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for watching A Closer Look. Remember, you can watch us on Facebook and on YouTube. See you next week.